Hey, welcome again to For Better For Us. I'm Osiri Wisdom, and this is my wife.
Favor Osiri Wisdom.
And we have amazing young men, young ladies here. Join us to, have an amazing evening this evening. I want you to invite your loved one, invite your friends, and be a part of this. Whether you're watching us live now or you're going to watch this after now, the topic we are talking about today is amazing. And so I'm going to allow Pastor Favor to talk about what we are sharing today, and it's going to help you. And we're going to be very interactive, so please, we encourage you, to like, share the page, create a watch party, and when it's time for questions, please let's answer and let's be a part of this. Okay, Pastor Favor?
Okay, it's an interesting topic this evening. And it's the waiting room. Exiting the waiting room or to remain in the waiting room. And now, if you're very familiar with the Zoom app, you'll understand that most times, before you are actually given permission to come into the meeting room, you're kept in the waiting room. And it's frustrating sometimes for you to remain in the waiting room for so long. But the truth is that some people have been in waiting rooms for 10 years, 9 years, and I can tell you, it's not a beautiful place to be because emotions are involved. And so this evening we will be discussing, very interactive, with wonderful single men and single ladies on how to exit the waiting room or maybe to stay. I'm not sure. I think I don't know, like I've kept somebody in the waiting room before.
Obviously not me, but it might be other people. I had no waiting room experience.
But honestly, I didn't know it was a waiting room. I just told the person, let's say it goes. And sometimes, waiting room actually has some languages. Let's say I goes, praying about it, let me think about it and all of that. So tonight we want you to be very open. You can also share your experiences with us in the comment section. Invite your friends, tag all your loved ones, below the video so that we can get this conversation started. So, waiting room.
Okay, so we're going to start from my extreme left. So you mentioned your name and just tell us about what you understand by the word waiting room.
Waiting room.
Hi friends, good evening everyone. I'm Success. Okay, waiting room.
I like the way you laugh.
I'm not sure it's a place anybody wants to be in. It's a stagnant point in every relationship. You're in a relationship and nothing is not moving forward. It's it's just there. The guy is not saying anything. The lady is just there observing. So I think is there a place for anyone to be? If you're in a waiting room today, please decide to leave that room. It's not for you. It's not for you.
Okay, so before we get back to my left, I'm going to ask extreme right, Chima, what was waiting room?
Good evening, Pastor. Good evening, everybody. A waiting room, it's when it comes to a relationship.
Yes.
Normally, we know what a waiting room is. A place where you're kept before you're taken to the next stage.
Kai.
But so in a relationship, the same applies. So it's a place where you are expecting to move to the next level of the relationship. I personally do not really see that a waiting room might be too bad. But like the name goes, waiting room, it becomes a challenge when the wait is extended. So there should be a point in time when you say, okay,
I'm done with the waiting.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to get back to you. We're going to hear from the next person. Jackson, you take your note and then go ahead.
Good evening, my listeners. My name is Ibe Jackson. Well, this is an interesting topic. Well, let me go straight to the point. Waiting room for me, I think, is a condition, a situation where one is neither giving a yes or no as an answer for a relationship or in a relationship. I want to borrow my friend's word in our last episode. He said, I think, is a place of mass of nothingness. You are neither going forward, you are neither going backward, you are just stagnant. Indeed, it's not a place to be. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to hear from the last person.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Mfoniso Antia. Waiting room, I mean, they've already said everything about what waiting room is. I think it's, in a simple word, waiting room is a place of uncertainty in relationship. You're not sure what's happening, you're just there, hoping. It's a place of just hope for both parties, male or female. It's just a place of uncertainty. It can transgress to better or worse.
So okay, I'm going to start from with you now.
Pastor.
Yeah, you know how we roll now.
Pastor.
You know how we roll. So have you been in a waiting room or have you kept somebody in a waiting room?
Pastor, like I said before, I don't like.
Oh, talk to us.
I don't like all those. I don't like elongating. I don't like tagging people along. I said
Okay.
it before. I don't have strength.
So some people tag people along.
Yes.
Okay.
They just tag you along like that, and I don't personally do that.
Okay.
I don't think it's right. I say yes or no, and then we progress. For whether I have been in a waiting room or not, I think I have been in a point in a relationship where I did not know what exactly is happening, but I didn't allow myself to stay there for long.
Oh, you exited by yourself?
I asked questions. If it did not, the answer didn't come well, I moved.
Are you serious?
Yes, Pastor, I don't have time.
Oh my God. Okay, let's hear Success. Success, have you been in the waiting room or somebody kept you there?
Okay, for me, I think I've not been there, but I've actually kept someone there.
Through confession. Through
I'm trying to be
confession.
sincere.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't intentional per se. Like, I didn't want to keep him there, but then, okay, we were friends for a very long time. And
Okay.
one thing led to the other. I didn't say yes, but he was persuasive. He was on my neck. Success, what are you saying now? And you know, I don't want to get into this relationship with you. So he was still pushing. I was giving him all the signs. This thing is not for us. We can be friends, but not relationship. So waiting room was just an option for me. Just keep him there. So let time just wear him off, and then he.
Oh, but okay, before you hand over the mic, did time wear him off?
Yes, it did.
Or you finally gave him a red card?
Okay, no. When I kept him in the waiting room, he just discovered that this girl is not. She's not into this thing with me. So he just left.
So did he tell you specifically, young lady, thank you so much. I think vote of thanks. You know, I kind of
he didn't,
exited with courtesy, or that I know we'll get to a point how people exit, attitude people show when they're exiting. So what was his own like?
Okay, sir. He didn't say. Like, he didn't call me to tell me, oh, Success, this. He just, time just wear him off.
For how long?
I can't say. But I just discovered that we stopped talking. We stopped, like, the communication was not there. We were not connecting. We stopped relating with each other. So, just there.
But not malice.
No malice. We still
Okay.
talk as
Those
friends.
intimate, like
Yeah,
night
exactly.
calls, loving
Sure.
calls.
Why do you know they're doing night call, my wife?
No. And then the extended calls, like more like calling you 10 times in a day.
Sure.
So you started reducing.
Yeah, reducing.
Ah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Chima, have you ever been in the waiting room before?
Yes, I have.
You kept somebody, they kept you.
Use the mic. Okay.
Somebody kept me.
Oh, this one kept somebody, this one, somebody kept you.
So, just as you say, time is of essence. So, I personally believe that when you see somebody is going to work out with you, know. At a very, it might not be instant, but it won't be too long.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Some of us don't know.
From the very first time you meet someone.
It might not be instant,
Okay.
but it might not be too long.
Okay.
You just have this connection. You just have this, and the truth is, we know that a lot of people keep people in waiting room because of trust issues when it comes to relationship. But personally, I believe that when you connect with somebody well enough, most of the times, you don't want to keep that person so long in the waiting room. So for me, by the time I started talking with the person and I started seeing those little bit of signs, and then it was neither
Yeah or nay. Please wait. Write it in the comment section. Simple way. Waiting room is a situation of neither yea nor nay. I like that. Neither yea
No, nay.
nor nay. Neither come in or go out. Oh my God.
So
All right.
We're going to look at some of the signs of waiting room.
Okay. So let's ask who have we not asked about?
I think he was still talking.
Jackson, have you spoken to your own? Have you been in the waiting room, Jackson? They kept you or you kept somebody?
Pastor,
The way you are breathing down is that they kept you.
it was not a good experience. I've been there. Pastor, mine was.
As a fine guy like you,
Indeed,
with so much anointing.
I've been there, man. Indeed, actually, my own was like a transition. When we started the relationship, it wasn't like that. There was an agreement. So it wasn't like I was in the mass of nothingness from the onset.
So more like you were in the room.
I was in the room.
Okay.
We both agreed to be in the room.
And throw away the key.
Once we now, yes, yeah, from agreeing with each other, a party now decided to keep the other person awaiting in the room.
Is it like a waiting trial or something?
Awaiting trial, yes.
Awaiting verification,
Awaiting verification.
screening process.
Awaiting confirmation.
Oh, please expatiate on that.
Mine was awaiting confirmation.
Please
Okay.
explain to
It
that.
was, we came to a point, we agreed, yes.
Okay.
I've accepted you, we're in a relationship.
Okay.
It came to a point where we got stagnant, we're not moving forward. One party said, I need a confirmation from a parent, from their parents.
Okay. Parental
So
consent.
because of that, I was kept in an awaiting room. So I'm saying my is a waiting room in confirmation.
Okay.
I need a word of affirmation from these people so I can go along. So I was kept there for many years. Many.
Oh.
Now, the way I say men is like more than 1 year.
That is 6 years.
Whoa.
6 years.
How can somebody be in a waiting room for 6 years?
6 years. Like I said, there
That's
was
enough
an
to get a
agreement.
degree and a master's.
Confirmation, yes.
That's a master's degree.
A relationship that was supposed to last either 3 to 4 years,
Yeah.
then take us to where we are
I'm
going.
going to.
Now exceeded 4 years, added 2 years extra.
So you have
extra
left
year.
Egypt. You have not entered Jericho. Oh,
You had
this is.
extra year. Sorry.
You had extra year with some
It was very good
carryovers.
experience.
No,
Sorry.
it's actually not a good experience.
All right, my wife wants to share something about,
Yeah.
you know, have you shared your own?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we talked about, you know, whether they were kept or they kept somebody in a waiting room. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the signs that shows that in a waiting room. After that, we go into, you know, how to exit the waiting room. All right. So, Professor, you want to start?
Yes. In fact, as we were talking, I remembered something. It looks like ours was like waiting room.
You and who? Me and you are not waiting in the room. Oh.
Allow me to land now. Because, you know, for me, the very first time I met Pastor, I knew. So more like I had an instant confirmation that this is my husband. But again, you know, you cannot just go on. You cannot walk up to somebody to say, this is it. So I had confirmation, but his heart was, maybe, I don't know if he had, but I was not seeing signs. Maybe I was quite young then. So I already knew. I was already in the room. And it took a while, you understand. And by the way, he didn't propose. So because
But he was in a room
he didn't
all by yourself.
so because the proposal didn't come like, you know, like you understand those kind of things. So I felt, you know, is this a waiting room? Should I move on? Should I not move on? But because I was very sure, I guess he was also taking his time. God had spoken to him, but he didn't tell me. I think he was trying to gather money, you understand, before he comes. So sometimes people can actually be in waiting rooms for different reasons. Sometimes it could be financial.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes it could be financial. Sometimes it could be because by the time we met, I was just in 100 level. And in 100 level, I knew he was my husband. And he was just graduating. So you see the gap. So the relationship lasted for like, let's say 3 years, 4 years before, you know, it started manifesting like a real relationship. But because I already knew he was my husband, I was already in cloud 9.
Oh.
Do you understand that kind of
Oh,
So-
forgive.
So there are different reasons. So it could be financial reasons. Sometimes it could be parental consent.
Yes, a lot of reasons.
Sometimes it could be confusion. A lot of people are coming for you, and you're not sure the particular person to pick. But whichever one, we want to make sure that it is not intentionally keeping someone, in the waiting room. You already know this is a no for you, but you keep raising the hopes of someone along because there are some benefits. There are some things you're benefiting from the person. Maybe it's cash, or maybe it's because of neediness. Let it just be that I have somebody to tag along. So tonight, so I don't know, was I in the waiting room? Was I in the waiting room?
We're in a waiting room.
Like lineup, Pastor. Was she in a lineup?
More like
Pastor.
No. Look at it. It's more like, you know how you go for verification. This is like verification. You know how you want to do election. You know election now. And you're talking about verification.
Pastor, people used to line up for election. Like, you see a line
No, I
for
was not in that lineup.
From calm down now. And so in the verification, you have to ask for a paper. It's not, did you register?
Okay,
Which of the ward you register? They
Yes.
ask all those questions.
Hey, Father.
What's your vision? Where are you going to?
Okay.
Chima, thank you. It's a procedural something. Procedural things. And once we clear the procedural things, like she said, I didn't propose. I just got one day. I said, hey, have you thought of marrying somebody like Osiri Wisdom before? She just said,
That was
I've
a
thought
direct
So
question.
direct.
Yes, she said, I've thought about it. I've wished it.
Yeah.
I've dreamt about it.
Oh.
I have desired it.
Oh.
Only
Father.
I have not prayed about it. Yes. So, and I said, okay, well, I want to come and see your parents next week. That's all. I said, that's why I said I didn't propose. Because, hey, I just have to, when you are done with verification, what are you waiting for again?
Oh my God.
So, because
Okay.
to manage people in the waiting room is very demanding.
Yeah.
A relationships are very emotionally demanding. So you can't put 7 people in a waiting room.
Ah,
Catastrophe.
Some do.
Some do.
Yeah.
7 people.
I can't do that because ladies can keep people.
some ladies.
Are you serious? Talk to us.
The ladies are very, very good in that. I think, I met a friend, we were discussing, so I was even asking her her experience in their waiting room. And I asked her, how many people have you kept in a waiting room? She told me 3. So
At the same time?
At the same time. I think ladies are very good in that. In my own, I never kept anyone. I had only one person who kept me, and we kept each other. But ladies are very good at that. They can keep 3 persons, 5 persons. In fact, the number of people they decide to keep, they can keep.
But let's not exonerate, or let's not blame ladies so much for that. So, not that I'm exonerating them, but let's not blame them so much. Why I say so is, if you look at the relationship game, lady waits for a man to approach her.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so, and when there is options like that, there is also the challenge of choice.
Selection problem.
Yes, selection. There's also the challenge of being able to manage people's expectations at those points in time. You understand? So, inadvertently, some ladies make some men start what I would call waiting room or /activity room. So
Okay.
they are in an activity. They are
Pastor, from my
Activity that leads to futility. Activity in futility. So that's an activity that's not having accomplishment.
Yes.
All right, so whilst we are going to go right into talking about signs of waiting room, there's a link. There's a link in the posts, okay, in the comment section, particularly of the Facebook, okay, page. You're going to see from waiting to wedding. So you can get it on e-copy. We can send it to you, e-copy, from waiting to wedding, breaking marital delays. This is how to exit, okay, reasons why people are delayed and how we can exit. So you see this, all right? From waiting to wedding, how to break away from all those kind of delay. There are a few things I talked about here. We may not have the time to exhaust everything here, so you need to get it. Okay, so click on that link. There is a link for you to pay, and it will be sent to you almost automatically, and you will have a full copy. So whether you are watching live now or you're going to watch later, search for the link about from waiting to wedding. This is what we are discussing today. So let's go ahead and hear from, Success, okay, about waiting room. Signs. What are the signs that you are in the waiting room?
Okay, I think one of the signs is lack of communication. Because in the waiting room, you don't communicate as often as you need to. So when you call her, she acts like she's distracted. For instance, you call a girl and then she's like, "How are you? Fine. How are you doing? Fine. Have you eaten? Yes." She just
Success.
gives you a
Just look
direct
at
answer.
Acto.
Okay, just like sharp,
Like sharp. She just
short
wants to,
answers.
just short and
She don't want to
precise.
engage anything.
She doesn't want to. Are you going to say me no? I think she just gives you a very direct answer. Something is wrong somewhere. When a girl gives you this kind of response, there is a pointer that something is happening somewhere that you need to check out.
All right, let's hear from yeah.
Okay, signs of waiting room. I think a major sign is when you're approaching a person, and this is for the female, or from the female side, the person is not giving you a direct answer, or the person is saying, "Let me think about it," and not giving you a time to come back for the answer, for the response. There's no timeline to let me pray about it or let me think about it. You're already in the waiting room. Then for a lady, if you've been seeing green lights or maybe you've moved closer to the place, or you're already, like Jackson said, you're already in somewhat a form of a relationship, then suddenly you're not feeling any connection, no communication, just there. Once in a while, maybe once in 2 weeks, you say hello, you're already in a waiting room.
Okay, so Jackson, how about you? What are the signs?
Well, for people in relationship, one of the signs or some of the signs, I think there'll be bridge in communication.
Okay.
There's somebody you love calling 7 times a day, but this time around you don't feel like calling. Most times when you call, you don't sound nice. Then also there are little symptoms of change in attitude. Little thing gets you angry. There's somebody, when he or she talks, you are excited to hear his or her voice. You know, this time around, anything he or she says gets you angry. There's always
You can even turn it around.
Yes,
If you say
yes.
good morning, say, why are you saying good morning?
Of course.
He say, well, just say morning. Just say good. Just say morning.
First of all, you are sounding as if you've experienced that.
His flesh and blood is not revealed to me.
So these are some of the symptoms you see while being in that waiting room.
All right, Chima, what do you think? Signs?
Okay, I want to advise our people watching.
Get your mic closer to your mouth.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
don't mistake activity for productivity in a relationship.
Okay.
Because sometimes brothers are good at this. The lady will say, we are doing something where you are giving him, maybe you are the one texting more, you are the one giving more attention,
You're the one calling more.
you are the one calling more. You are doing activity. What scripture will say, the form of godliness, where there is no power in therein.
No, high
So
form of
there
God,
is
but
a
no
form
power
of-
in it. Yeah.
yes, there is. You see yourself in activity. You know, it's like in a,
Roller coaster.
yes, it's like when you are when you go to see somebody, a boss in an office, and then they keep you in a waiting room, or they keep you to wait. But in the process of keeping you to wait, they will give you some little chores to do. So they will say,
Okay.
excuse me, help us get this, help me get this. Okay, come on.
Or they can even give you something good like coffee,
Yes.
like tea,
Yes.
like even ice cream,
Yes,
a magazine to read.
yes.
Meanwhile, you're in a waiting room.
And you'll be
Eh?
enjoying it.
You're thinking that you are processing to something else.
Yes.
Meanwhile, it's all a way to wait. After what they come and say, sorry, my boss cannot see you again today.
Yes. So those are. It's a sign. You know, one clear sign is when you chat up somebody and it takes the person 3 days
to
to
respond.
respond. Yes, when you chat up somebody, you will see it on WhatsApp. You know, WhatsApp gives you the sign that
The
it's
person
red.
has actually read it.
It will
You know, but some people have gone to another level now. You know, you can set up your WhatsApp, you read, they don't know you have read.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so, but actually, sometimes WhatsApp also tells you that it has delivered by the two clicks.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it takes the person 3 days. It takes the person 1 week to be able to.
Meanwhile, the person is supposed to be waiting for it as the message is landing. She's replying or he's replying.
Sir,
Eh.
there's something I would say. In church, when somebody has faith, thus says the Lord, the person comes. The person does not wait for the word to fall on the ground before the
He
person
will
grabs
catch
it.
the
Yes, I
word.
take it. Yes.
That's when you see somebody that has faith, who has expectation.
Yes.
That's how it's supposed to be in a relationship that is heading somewhere. You
Yes.
shouldn't wait for the lady as the person is saying, you should be expecting it. So before the word land, you already grabbed it. You want to hear or want to see what the person has said.
More like finishing the statement for the person. Okay. All right, Jackson, you want to say something more?
Just like what he said, that before in church, when someone says, "Thus says the Lord," before the person lands, you've already
Grab the
grabbed
word.
the word by faith. It's the same in relationship also. Like the expression he was giving or the example he was giving. Why before the person sends the text or why he or she is trying to text you, you already know what is coming in. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you are not
expectant.
gazy. You won't say you are gazy. Why the text message is coming, say, yes, I really expected this thing to come in. And immediately you reply.
So, Pastor Favor, what do you?
Yeah.
We're going to start talking about how to exit, and don't forget, if you are, part of this live or you're watching a replay, there's a link, all right, on how to order this book, From Waiting to Wedding. Enough of waiting. We want to have some wedding bells ring.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes,
inside this book is packaged wisdom for you to make it happen. Let me tell you, my wife and I, we have, this calling, this grace to make. My wife finished her exam on a Tuesday. To tell you how anointed I am. On Thursday, we did traditional wedding in her village.
That's my pastor.
On Saturday, we did wedding. By Saturday, 4 p.m., she was in my arms. So I have the anointing. I understand how this thing works. If you follow what is inside this book, you move away from waiting room. I'm waiting room exit personified. The wisdom to move is here. So don't just, am I right? Yeah. Glory to God, glory to God. So you don't want to just read or just listen to and then move on. No. Some people carry some certain kind of graces.
Yeah.
This one, to move people from waiting to wedding, the grace day. The grace day. All right. So we're going to go about how do people exit. All right.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, it's been an amazing interaction. I also want to encourage that if you are actually in a waiting room, that you're very careful how you exit or how you manage your relationship so that you don't even create enmity.
Yes.
You understand? Because there are relationships that, people are hurt. And I can tell you, it's taking years. They've not forgiven the person. So if what we're discussing is bringing back memories, we want you to calm down. At the end of this session, we're going to pray and ask God to heal your heart, because it's painful for you to have believed that a relationship will work out, and after 5 years the person walks away. We've seen people who only saw the wedding cards of the person who they were expecting that they get married.
I know you can make somebody get mad.
Yeah, in a certain church I used to be part of, there's this relationship, and the lady felt they had something. And didn't know that the young man, they had organized for the young man to marry someone else. And they've been dating for 2 years. And they announced his wedding, and she had the wedding from the altar. Now, these are some of the things, yes. And she left that assembly very bitter. And we never saw her. So we want to start sharing, how do you begin to exit the waiting room? I would want to say, for the ladies, you need to call for a meeting. You need to ask questions. There are sometimes when we're in relationship, for a lady, you feel if you ask that you sound desperate, that if you ask questions that you sound like you're trying to force the man to propose. No, you are not being desperate, you're being responsible. You're being responsible because your life is important. You need to know. There's something my husband will always say, that he wants to focus his emotions on just one person and not have his emotions scattered all over the place. So that he will, when you invest, when you focus, there's intensity. So for ladies, I want to ask that you ask questions. And when you're in a relationship with someone and you know the manner of communication, you will know whether this relationship will actually get to the next level.
So you are saying one way to exit is ask questions for clarity.
Yes, ask questions. This is after you said you have prayed. For we Christians, before you tell somebody a yes, you pray. Now, after you have prayed and you were sure and you got a green light from the person and it's looking like both of you, the thing is spoken but not yet broken, you need to ask questions for clarity. Be bold as a lady to ask direct questions. I asked my husband question.
Yes, yes.
I
And
did.
I answered.
Yes, I asked him, I said, what are we doing?
I said, we're going to the altar.
He said, we're friends. I said, okay. So when he said we're friends, we're starting, I put the relationship on friendship zone.
Yes.
And by the time we were to revert, you understand, we both reverted together. So that you're not giving attention to a relationship that is supposed to be on friendship zone. You give it to a more, you start giving your time, your energy, your resources.
Okay, so
and
so
everything,
clarity, what she has
Clarity
mentioned,
is
one
very
is
important.
clarity, ask question,
Ask
direct question,
questions,
please.
yes.
Whether you're a man, a woman,
Ask
and
questions.
more importantly, a lady, okay? There are some people, they come, they eat your food in phone.
Oh,
They, you know, they
Saw
just
that
do
on
your
campus a
things.
lot.
On campus, you cook food, you gave them. They
7
bring
cooler.
coolers, all kinds of things. Say something, no, say some. Come in, no. Go out, no. Dog in the manger. So, dog in
They will
the,
say, I saw you with brother something.
yes.
Monitoring spirit. They'll just say
And
you
they,
with brother
they just be
something.
seeing you, but sometimes I'm making you feeling bad. They say, well, something going for you. Say, we're going for prayer. Say, what kind of prayer are you praying by that time? You know? Oh, yeah, say something and let me
Your father. You just become your father in school. By
Your
all
father,
means.
yeah, uncle.
Uncle.
Oh,
Say something you
so
won't
let's
say.
hear from you. How do you exit?
Okay, one of the signs of one way to exit a waiting room. If you notice something that is funny in your partner, okay, like Mama said, you understand your line of communication and you know how often you communicate and you notice there's a bridge in communication. You just know that's one of the signs, and then you ask questions, like Mama said, and then get to know what you're doing. Me, I ask questions a lot. I ask you, what are we doing? If I notice you're not saying anything, I just make a move. I make a move one way or the other. I'll let you know I'm in this for. I want this to get to a very serious place. So if I need to, I just ask. I ask a lot of questions. So I'm going to go with what Mama said. Ask a lot of questions. Just ask. Keep asking and don't stop asking. Ask until you get your answer, and ask until you exit the waiting room.
Hey, ask until you get your answer. Ask until you exit the waiting room. Let's hear from a phone. How do somebody exit?
Pastor, Mama had tried to throw some light on some of the reasons why people are even kept there. Because I would have wanted us to talk about why some few things why we think people are kept in that zone. So that way, if you can identify the reason why you are in that place or that person is in that place, you'll be able to know what to do to exit it. One of the reasons is character flaw.
Okay.
Character flaw is one of the reasons why some people are kept, especially the ladies, are kept in the waiting room, hoping that maybe she will have a change of character or something. So as a lady, if you notice that you've been in this place too much, or maybe sometimes some guys are bold enough to tell you, I don't like these things that you do. If that is the case, it's either you change or you exit. Another reason is throwing oneself to the opposite sex. The ladies, again, talking about us, you're kept in the waiting room because you threw yourself to this person. You were just there. Every time you're with this brother, every time 247, undefined relationships too. You're just there, not saying anything. You're the one that
not that the relationship has been defined. You threw yourself
you threw
there.
yourself there. You're not
If the
saying
brother
nothing.
is going somewhere,
Somewhere.
he did not call you. Say, can I follow
Brother
you?
is receiving some benefits, some coziness for free. So he will just keep you there in the waiting room without
What kind
nothing.
of coziness?
Pastor.
So more like you
Pastor.
become very needy of the
Yes, needy of the
relationship.
person, and you're just there. Sometimes you buy him things, and you're not asked for. It's not like there's a difference between buying something for someone you're in a relationship with, or buying someone for someone that you're just friends with. It has been defined. You're just friends with.
Yes.
Are you
Then
saying
you
that
just-
if a sister comes and tells Pastor Favor or tells me that Brother Jackson, she has seen Brother Jackson in a dream, okay? And then because of that dream she saw, she now started buying things for Brother Jackson, so Jackson can begin to think in that direction, because these are one way that you can begin to get people's mind in a certain way. Is that what you're talking about?
Pastor, Brother Jackson did not see that dream. It's better for the lady to go back and pray for God to show that Brother Jackson that dream.
Exactly.
If you see the dream on your own, or yours is your own like this. Nobody else is following you to that dream. It could be maybe it could be a temeta that you took last night that show you that dream.
Atemeta.
Yes, maybe malaria drugs that you took show you that dream. It might not be a real dream, Pastor.
Yes.
There are so many reasons for dreams. Maybe watch his profile picture. Some people are actually following people up like you
That's
like this person so
stalking.
much that you're
Exactly.
stalking the person that in the dream you will see the person. Pastor, dreams.
Yeah.
You need to ask what kind
But
of
I think
dreams.
it's true.
Another thing
Yeah.
is I have said that unidentified relationship with opposite sex. Mama mentioned being desperate. Fear of tag. You're scared that if you ask this person, they are going to tag you desperate. My sister, ask anyway. What is the worst that can happen? they tell you you're desperate, you walk away. Rather than going to find out 10 years or 6 years plus
Down
later,
the line.
down the line. Another thing is the fear of losing the person, which is neediness. You're just scared. I'd rather just be here. And maybe in 2 years' time, maybe it would come up. You will realize who I am, how good I am, and you try to show your wife materialness. And allow the
wife
person to
materialness.
just there. You're scared you're going to lose this one that is close to you. So you rather be in the waiting room. So if you identify that, you have to break loose of that fear. You have to. So another reason would be low self-esteem or pride. So it's in either ways. Either your esteem is so low that you feel like no one else would want you. So this brother that is already saying hi is already for you. You are already seeing your father already. He's just saying hi, but in your head, you have seen your father already.
Why is he your father?
To marry already. I mean, the brother just said hi, Pastor. But because of your low self-esteem, so this brother could say hi to me. That means he's already ready. This one, I'm not letting him go. So you're already tagging along.
Are you saying that you are going to take him to your father, or
Yeah,
that he's
you're
now a
already
new
saying
father?
That in your mind, you're already, like Mama said, I was already in cloud 9. So in your mind, hi, guy, I think this is a seal deal already. So it's a low self-esteem. Something you're not waiting for to be told or to be approached. In your head, you're
Okay, so
already done.
let's hear Jackson. Jackson, how do we exit this waiting room?
Well, thank you, Pastor. I think Mama said some things I think that are very vital for me. Number one, I think you get clarity that you want to exit. You want to exit this. You want to quit this relationship or leave the waiting room. Get clarity, pray about it, ask questions, because most of the things that kept you in that waiting room are clarifications, things you need to be clear about. So you get some while you're praying, you get some while you're asking questions. Then secondly, why exiting the waiting room? This one is very serious. Be very mindful of how you exit the waiting room. Because most times we end up dealing with people's emotions. There are situations where we hurt each other while exiting their waiting room. So before you exit, be very mindful. You can get counsel from people you took as your mentor to mentor you on how to quit a certain relationship.
All right, so
I was going to add something to that. I was going to say that's why the role of mentors become very important. So you are in a relationship, you don't want to hide things. So when you hide things, you suffer alone because you're not accountable to people.
Yes,
so one of the ways you also want to exit the waiting room, you want to seek counsel from your mentors. You want to seek
All right,
counsel from your
from your mentors.
Very, very important.
and how to be good mentors.
Good mentors.
All right, so just before the next person, Mr. Chima, speaks, if you have questions, you're on Facebook at For Better For Us. I want you to please drop it. We already have one question there. And we're going to try to attempt to answer that question. If you have questions, please drop it there. Number two, if you also have learned something, we want to also know what you have learned. What stood out for you today? Okay, next week is going to be explosive. Next week, we're going to be talking about, do ladies love men more or men love ladies more?
Wow.
That is something.
Wow.
Who love the other one more?
Wow.
Who can die for somebody?
Wow.
Is it that a woman can die for a man or a man can die for a woman? I'm looking forward to next week Sunday. All right, but before we get to that point, I want you to please ask questions if you have a question to ask us. Also, there's a book, it's pinned. You can actually get a copy of this book, okay, From Waiting to Wedding, part of how to exit from the waiting room that is illegal, that is inappropriate, that is too long. All right, and then we look forward to also interacting with you. Don't mind, we're going to still pray. So we are switching over to Chima. Chima, how do you exit the waiting room?
Okay.
Then when we are back, we're going to take your questions. We already have one question here from Faith. Let me ask the question. He said, is it not better you walk away than asking? I'm sure she's talking to the ladies, where the ladies say ask questions. She said, instead of just going to be asking, why not just walk away? Okay?
Let me say this. There are times when you ask questions and still it seems you are still where you are.
Okay.
No move, no comeback.
It still seems you are still where you are. At that point, I think the wisdom that Solomon used in scripture could apply, where you use, I call it reverse psychology. So these two women had an issue. One of the child died, and then I call it scenario playing. So Solomon looks at the two people. You can't decide this is this person's child. So the best way is to create a scenario where one of them loses or both of them loses the child. And when that scenario was played in, the real mother, because she was the real mother, voluntarily reacted in a way that showed that she was the mother.
Okay, so how do you apply to waiting room?
So you have talked to somebody, you have asked questions to see clarity, and yet the clarity seems to be elusive.
Okay.
Make up your mind, you are going to go. Bet. Start heading towards the exit door. So put the person in a waiting room, because a time comes. There are times.
Wait, he said exit the room and leave the person in the waiting room. That's something else.
Because if you look at the dynamics of waiting room, the person, a lot of times, most people will identify with this. When you're in the waiting room, the person will come, show face, also still interact with you for some time, and yes, and still give you the feeling that you are loved, and then and all that, and then still and all that. So when that time comes, now you should be the one that say, hey, stand at the door. Let the person see that you are already you're on your way out.
She might say stand at the door.
That will now, it's a scenario playing. It will play out a scenario where the person will have to make a decision, and whether is this a serious thing or not. And I would advise the person, whoever does that, should do it once, because sometimes if you allow it become a cycle,
it loses effect.
It loses effects.
Okay.
Okay.
Chima, your head is working well.
Okay.
Yeah, what's this one?
Yeah, I also want to say, if you're a child of God, the place of taking it to God in prayer is very important. God actually knows the end from the beginning, and God knows everyone.
Yes.
Even for the person who looks all packaged and looks like it's good, you still need to find a way to take it to God. Like the scenario that I explained, I knew that he was my husband, but it took me going to God in prayer, just like you say you see in the dream, that God has to show them. So it took me going to God in prayer, and because I knew, I was convinced, I didn't tell him, you understand, but God still spoke to him. I'm just saying that. So if you feel God has spoken to you about somebody, and you have put yourself in the waiting room, you need to be sure God spoke to you about it, and then trust that God will also bring it to pass. And peradventure, there are situations in that relationship, you still need to go back to God. God can actually tell you to exit a relationship because he has seen the end from the beginning. I believe that. God can either ask you wait, or God can ask you exit. Very, very important. Yes.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So we're going to start wrapping up. Let's try to answer this lady. She's asking a question. Please don't forget also, if you are watching on the Facebook page For Better For Us, or a share party or watch party somebody set up, please share the video. We want a lot of more people to listen to what is going on here. I will also want you to please comment. Tell us what stood out for you, and in case you have any question, please ask. Don't forget what I said. Next week Sunday, we're talking about simple question: men and women, who love the other more? Ladies, I'm sure you're going to be something, and we're going to find out the proof that they love more. Huh? The proof, eh? The proof already there. What do you think?
Don't leak expo for next week.
We can die for love.
We can die for love.
We can die for love.
Do you agree with that?
So let's not leak the expo.
But just try. Do you agree with this kind of thing? Do men love women more and women love men more?
No, women, we carry our love with truck.
With truck?
Yes.
So you disagree with him?
Yeah, I disagree.
All right, next week we'll sort it out. But so let's go ahead and answer this young lady. She's asking here, my dear, is it not better we just walk away than asking all these questions? Yeah, we have some few questions.
There are some questions here.
And that person said, so when you take that one, so I say, Pastor, please, Pastor, if a lady answer a question and behave differently, what can you do to maintain the relationship? I think Chima tried to talk about it, so Chima will answer it. Since Chima will try to answer that question, I don't know if that's. And then Fana said, my question directed to Sister Ofon, please. How long is expected as a lady to be in the waiting room with and without financial stress.
With and without financial stress.
This is a serious matter.
Something.
All right, so
Okay.
let's start from Jackson. Jackson, what do you think for that lady? Should she continue to wait, or is it
Better to exit.
is it better to exit or to ask questions?
Well, I will advise you ask question because
Before you exit.
Before you exit.
Why?
My reason is at times you might even take decision on your own. At the end, you start regretting when you
Yeah.
take some wrong decision.
you didn't
So
do
it's
everything.
better you, like I said, meet your mentors, ask them. They know better. They know better, especially those of them who are into relationship, who counsel people about relationship. Meet them and ask. Igbo people normally say there's an adage. They said someone who asks, if you are asking for a direction, you won't miss road.
Miss road.
When
Okay,
you are
so
good
so
in
you,
asking
in
direction,
other words, you don't have anything to lose by asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't attach your emotion to the action.
Yes.
That is it. Please write it down in the comment. Don't attach your emotion to the action.
Asking.
So the next question before Chima takes the other one.
Okay, the same question, whether it is easy to wait or
No, this one say how long is it expected for a lady to be in a
it's-
waiting room and with or without
It's
financial?
Brighter is asking it. So my question for you, Bright, is how long do you think you can hold? I mean, it's individual differences. There's someone who can take 3 months. Someone can take 1 week. How long do you think you can wait? How long do you have in your life to wait? You see, Pastor Favor had said, identify the reason. You have to try to identify why you're waiting, not just because the person does not have money. If it is a case of money, I mean, both of you are in agreement. Trust God together for money. That one shouldn't be a problem.
Solve problem and get money.
Yes, look for what makes money and make money, both of you together, and then go to where you want to go to. That's marriage. But if it's a case of just being there, not knowing what's happening, if you have asked a question, the person is tossing you up and down. My sister, don't wait till tomorrow morning.
All right, so let's hear Pastor
Exit.
Favor on that quickly, and then we hear Chima. Chima says, Chima, the question for you is, please, Pastor, if a lady answers a question and behave differently, what can you do to maintain relationship? So in other words, for instance, you have asked the lady, or she's trying to play your scenario. Okay, say I'm walking away, but she's not behaving as though she has walked away, or she say I am in, but she's behaving as though she's out. What should you do?
There's nothing to maintain. There's nothing to maintain.
That's it. Yes.
It's a bundle of nothingness.
There's nothing to it's a matter of nothingness. There's nothing to maintain. And it's a state of nothingness. And the truth is, remember, last week we talked about values. So what are those things that are red flags?
Yes.
So when what you're saying is not matching with what
With
you
what
are
your
doing,
action.
it's now a matter of integrity. It's
Yes.
now a matter of values, not correlating. And I can't. Once that happens, I'm already out. I've already gotten to Aba. Already, I'm there. I'm out. So.
All right, so in case you are watching from Australia, Aba is like a 1 hour journey from the city of Port Harcourt where we are. So he 1 hour journey, not the one that you can say hello, you here. 1 hour journey. That's what the brother have taken. All right, once you are beginning to do that thing, so it's a mass of nothingness for him. So, all right, while we begin to wrap up, I'm going to get their best, and their final thoughts before we close. Don't forget it's a 1 hour meeting. We're going to be here next week again. Next week, I'm looking forward to having you. And we're talking about men and women who love more. I'm not saying who should love more, who love more. And what are the proof that these people really love more? That's what we're discussing next week.
Time.
Oh, Lord, I'm enjoying the discussion.
And don't return again. Same.
All right, Chima, what's your own?
I heard the story of a lady who wrote her would-be husband a letter of ultimatum. Say, see, we have done this. What? I'm giving you from 1st of October, for example, to 20th of November. If you are not doing anything, or if you are not saying anything, we are not doing anything serious, sorry, bye-bye, we are done. So